Hey, welcome back to another episode of Midnight Oil Motorsports. My name's Ian, and thanks for stopping by. It's your first time with the channel. Thanks for checking me out and giving me a shot. Today, well, in the title, we're going to be blocking a whole bunch of stuff. First part of the video, I'm going to go over kind of the process of how to do it. Second part is more just going to be me and possibly a couple of my buddies, and we're just going to be blocking everything. I need to get this thing ready for paint. It is currently the second week in September, and I need to get this all painted before it gets too cold. If that happens, well, paint's not going to stick and it's not going to cure properly. So, haven't posted in a while. A couple factors have gone into that, and I'll go over that while I'm doing stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into it. First, I'll go over pretty quick. What have I been up to? Well, the racing season, the autocross season for me just ended. The wife and I have got a couple things planned we had a couple things planned over the weekends, and then when I finally got time to work on this car again, well, I found out that I'd screwed up. This is why. If you look at the primer, this is primer that I have not redone yet. You can see lots of speckles in this primer. This is even after sanding it, right? So the rest of this is smooth, but there's a lot of speckles in it. Now, what is that? That is something called solvent pop. I'm using a solvent-based primer, and pretty much what is happening, or what happened is, when I had sprayed the primer, I did not wait long enough in between coats, and the primer had bubbles of the curing solvent that got trapped underneath the next layer, and then the next layer, and then the next layer. So pretty much not good. Not good at all. Had to sand most everything down back with 180, and then give it another couple thick, and I'm talking thick with 2 C's, real thick layers of primer, and the finished result came out pretty good. Let me go over to a part. We've got this door. This door I have already blocked because I was trying to figure out my whole way how to do this. You can see here everything is very, very smooth. The color's pretty even. And what I had done was went over it first with 130 to block it down, or 130, 320 to block it down, and then went back over it again with 600 with a DA, and again I'll go over that. But here's what we're starting with, right? Here's a bumper that I've got in process that I started to do just to show you guys what's going on. This side of the bumper, I haven't touched, right? So this is just this black speckle down here. This is called a guide coat. And let me get that right real quick. I can show you what it is. The guide coat I'm using is black because I'm using a light gray primer. This shows up very well. SEM or SEM 38203. Stuff works really, really good, dries really, really quick, and sands very well. Really does not clog the paper that much. You can use a can of spray paint, right? But it takes longer to dry, and it'll end up clogging up the paper. I'm cheap. I don't want to buy that much paper. I buy good quality paper, but I don't want to use a whole heck of a lot of it, right? So start with this, right? You got the 320 on the block. You just kind of go in motions left to right, right? You want to do diagonals, diagonal patterns, and they'll come out with something like this. You'll see, you can see the scratches in it, the 320 scratches, but then you kind of go over them with the, or you spray the guide coat again and it'll be pretty flat, but then once you go over it with the DA with the 600, again in the same motion, where you're going side to side, you're going to end up making this really, really smooth and end up looking something like this. Again, very smooth. There's some dust on this, obviously, because it's not prepped, but it is essentially pretty much all the way there and ready to be painted, which is very, very cool. So anyways, that's what happened. That's the overview of the process. I'll show you what the process looks like on a part. And then after that, it's just gonna be a whole bunch of time lapses. So let me set up the camera here and I'll kind of show you how it's done. Okay, first things first, we got our guide coat, like I said. And mix this up a little bit. And the way I like to do this is, you see how there's a body line here, right? I don't want to have to try to block the whole door at the same time. You want to use your body lines as a guide here to be able to know when to stop your sanding, right? Because if you start going over a body line and start rounding it off, then it's not going to be as sharp as it would be if you know, just stayed on one side and then did the other side. Now, this is kind of easy to see because of this line of the door, so it's not like this needs to be super sharp. It's more you'd see it up here, but there's really 3 body lines on this door. There's the one here, the one here, or the one up here on this crease, and then the third one where the molding sits. So anyways, start at the bottom, because the bottom's the hardest part, because if you remember, this is where that rock guard was. It's going to take the most amount of time. So again, just take your guide coat. You don't want to like try to paint the door, right? So we're going to do nice, quick, swift motions here. So we got a nice even speckled, well, it doesn't even, it actually does not look even on camera, which is funny, but it in person looks like a very nice even coating of just speckles, pretty much, right? And you see how I was going very quickly across it, not like I'm trying to paint the whole thing black, right? So one can will go a long way if you use it properly, right? So let this dry and I'll get right back here. I'm going to use my blowgun, which I'm sure you don't want to hear. Right after a quick, you know, it's dry. So anyways, you can use a couple different tools, right? I mean, you can just use a little sanding pad, right? They make Durablock, oops, they make Durablocks, right? I bought the ones that are for the sticky pads, and I don't have sticky because I'm dumb. But really what you can use too is you can use, there's linear blocking tools is what they're called. They're really expensive. They have better results than the Durablocks, but the entire set of these is $100, and the linear blocks were very, very, very expensive. So to me, it's not really worth it. If you're building a show car worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, sure. If you do this every day, sure. Me, no, don't care. Anyways, I like to use a smaller one because the smaller one is soft. You can actually push it down. Nice thing about the Durablocks as well is it's flexible, right? This door has a curve to it. So if I take the Durablock here, I can curve this and start with my motions here. So you want to go diagonal. You can focus on just one spot at a time, right? I mean, don't like dig into it. Let the paper do the work, right? So you can see it's starting to get clean in the middle real quick here, so you don't need to focus on that too much. And as long as we're getting most of it off, the 600 when you go over the DA will get off the little bit that's left, right? So you can see this sand's really easy. You come back the other way. Make sure all your sanding marks aren't going in one direction, except they are going to notice them very, very easily. So just continue to switch it up here, right? You just do the whole thing down the door. So I'll speed this up so you can kind of see what's going on here. All right, now you can see we have a nice even scratch with the 320. So here's what we do. It's quite simple, really. Put you back up here. Boop. All right, cool. So I don't even really need, like, blowing this off is getting it clean enough, right? We're gonna do another layer here. Of guide coat, right? Now why would I do that? Well, I want to be able to see and make sure I get all these 320 scratches out with the 600. Now, the other thing is too, is 320, right? I'm sealing all of these parts. Got an epoxy sealer, undercoat that I'm gonna end up putting over all these parts to make sure all the little very, very little imperfections are going to be good. I could stop here with 320 if I really wanted to, but if I want to go the extra mile to make sure I'm doing a really good job, I want to go to a 600. 800 is a little much, right? But if I go to a 600, it's all going to make this all nice and even. So, and ensure that the sealer is going to cover up all this stuff too. So, again, we're doing the exact same thing here. And let me set this down. Oh, sure, right here, that's fine. Nope, nope, I guess it wasn't fine. Okay, I'm getting old. So we take our DA, right? Actually, let me undo this so it's not as annoying. And all we're doing the exact same thing, right? We're just going back and forth, right? I've got a soft pad on here so that it's not digging into the material as much, right? So I have a nice soft surface on here so that if I push a little too hard, it's not gonna just gouge the primer, right? So I wanna make sure all that's good so that I can literally just go and scuff this up real quick. This step will not take that long because this is already pretty flat. So, yep, let's see what that looks like real quick here. All right, you can literally see that took me maybe 15-20 seconds, and this is ready. This is ready for sealer. So actually, I'll show you this later, but I burned through a little spot right here, just a tiny spot, and I'll show you how to deal with that here momentarily. But let me go over the entire rest of this this section, and I'll go over that. All right, now, I mean, you can see this is pretty much all ready to go here. So let me go back down here. There's a small little spot right there, right on the edge there where I screwed up. You can see that I accidentally burnt through a little bit. All you gotta do hold on, coming back. Here we go. Get yourself some etch primer. This stuff's a little expensive. Made by One Choice. This is by PPG. This is a Sam Xavier Apple 1031. This is just matching. This just matches the color that I use, right? So it's really, really close. So if I was just painting over this, it would still look even underneath because it's about the same color. So, you know, everything's all scuffed up already here. Let me get you out of the way. Give this a quick shake. I did shake this up before I put you on camera. There's the tiniest burn through right there too. So just give this a quick little there we go. Okay, so as you can see, that part of the process, not that hard, but it is labor intensive and it is time consuming. So solution to that is, because I'm short on time here, have some buddies come over, and for abusing them, I'm gonna buy them pizza and tacos because that's just how you pay your friends. And I got a fridge full of beer. They'll enjoy it. Anyways, if you're here for the portion of the video of how to block your car, that's pretty much it. Feel free to click off. I appreciate you watching, even this far, because, you know, I probably learned you something. I learned you a good one. Anyways, I did get one question on one video on why I blocked the entirety of the panels here. I'll go over that real quick. So if you look in some other videos, especially this rear bumper, there are many different layers of paint on everything, right? I mean, just from me that I know of, there is, not from me, but before me, if we're just counting, we have the OEM E-coat, the paint, OEM paint, and then I know the guys before me had painted it with a black primer and then a speckle blue. Then I painted it with primer and then plastered it. So that's 6 layers of paint minimum, okay? To get everything flat, I need to sand everything down as much as I could and then primer over it, right? But normally on just the parts that you Bondo, that's where the primer's going, because the primer is filling the small pinhole gaps in your Bondo work, okay? But since the entire car was uneven, I needed to primer the entire car, which now really sucks. Really, really, really sucks, because now I have to do and block everything. Very unfortunate. But anyways, yeah. So after this, like I said, my buddies are coming over, hopefully this weekend, and it's just gonna be a bunch of time lapses. I am not going to shove a camera in their face, right? I don't want my friends to feel uncomfortable. It's not right. They're coming over to help me, and I appreciate it. So you're probably just gonna see time lapses. Maybe 1 or 2 of them is okay with me doing a couple videos that aren't time lapses, and we'll see, and you can see just how much of a goober I am. But yeah, other than that, that's kind of what I got. So you'll see some time lapses, and then maybe I'll get to an outro if I remember to do it or something. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, when you're blocking, please, 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 wear some PPE, right? You're sanding, be in a well-ventilated area, not like me right now. I did all this without a mask because I'm talking to you. I need you guys to hear me, right? But normally I need at least a mask to keep the dust out of my face, because primer dust isn't really meant to be inhaled, and it's not really meant for to get on your skin that much either. But on the skin, it just dries it out, but in your lungs, not good, not good. So it's abrasive. It can cause mesothelioma. Don't do it, okay? Other than that, yeah, that's really all I got. So yeah, time for some time lapse. Stay tuned. All right, so this clip is taken about, I think, 3 weeks from my last clip that you saw me talking. And, oh boy. I've had quite the ride, but hey, you know what? Last weekend, I didn't record anything or do anything because last weekend was my wife and I's 5-year wedding anniversary. And we took a little trip to Milwaukee and just spent the weekend up there. And let me tell you, that was something I really needed. And I didn't even know it, but just to get out and just forget what's going on right now, right? Because I'm awfully stressed with a lot of things. But anyways, yeah. Huge shout out to my 2 buddies that came by the other weekend. My buddy Joey came by, had absolutely no body work experience whatsoever. Came by and just decided, I want to help. And man, that was awesome. Saved me a whole butt ton of time. And I hope you learned something, because like the whole point of doing this channel too is to have people learn something. So then my other buddy Harvey, who came by the next day, literally the day afterwards, that guy on the flip side literally has a butt ton of bodywork experience. I worked with him at the body shop I used to work at for years, and now he worked his way up from being a porter to actually painting. So he's actually gonna come by literally this weekend to help me paint the everything. Everything that needs to be red is going to be painted. I have a couple of the hard top I'm gonna paint black, and I can do that in the spring. The whole body and everything else, I can assemble that during the winter. It just needs to be painted before it gets too cold. Today is September 26th, it's a Tuesday, and I need to get everything masked, prepped, or not prepped, but masked and wiped down and cleaned, and the booth made by literally Saturday morning. So I'm stressing a lot, but you know what? We're getting it done. So just like literally anything else I do, I'm out here burning that midnight oil, and we're getting it done. So let's close out this video. So thanks for watching. If you really liked the video, consider subscribing. I just broke 30 subscribers, and man, do I appreciate each and every one of you who subscribes. Some people are returning viewers, and man, is that absolutely crazy to me. That means you like me enough to watch another one of my videos and follow me and whatever. But whew, I'm famous. No, I'm not. Just kidding. But really appreciate you guys. So yeah, just remember, no one's gonna work on your car unless you do, or you pay somebody else to do it. And let me tell you, doing all this through a shop would be super expensive. And I'm giving you guys the knowledge for free to do it. So go and try it if you really are interested in doing it. So anyways, I'm out of here. I gotta get some sleep and eat dinner. I'm gonna go hug my dog. Later, guys.